All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and go into a child's pose, okay? So bringing those toes together, those knees can come out a little bit wider. Then we'll just reach those arms forward, resting the head onto your mat, reaching through those fingers and pressing those hips back. Just taking a moment just to breathe. Start to relax, just to soften into the mat. And taking that really big breath in through the nose. And exhale it out through the nose. Just nice, full, complete inhale. Expanding through that rib cage. You'll feel that rib cage press into those inner thighs. And then exhaling that breath out, just nice and slow. Just letting the mind quiet. Let the body begin to relax. Just focusing on that breath. And just maybe take a moment just to notice how you're feeling, if you're holding tension, if you're stressed, if you're angry, if you're happy, if you're just content. Just nice noticing kind of where you're at. Continuing to focus on that breath. And then we'll lift up slightly, go ahead and walk those hands over to the right side, walking those hands off the mat. Big reach through that left hand. As we press that hip back, then re-rest that head down to the mat. And then we'll walk those hands over to that left side. Big reach through that right arm, and then rest that head down. And then walk those hands back to center. Last one we're gonna do, flipping or bringing those palms together. Okay, thumbs are pointed up, and then just start to bend those elbows, bringing those thumbs to the neck. So then reach those arms back out, come up onto those hands and knees. Moving through those cat-cows. So inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, round. Good, inhale, lift. And exhale, round. Maybe even adding some sways from side to side. A little side stretch as we move through these cat-cows. Okay, now bring it back to that neutral spine. Go and step those feet back to our plank and just bring those hips right up to the sky. That downward facing dog. Take time, adjust those feet. So we don't really want to send those feet any narrower. So closer to our hands, we want to keep the hands and the feet pretty much in that same position in plank and in down dog. And then come up onto the toes. Bend those knees, look forward, stepping those feet to the hands. Inhale, find that half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to standing, reach it up tall. Exhale, interlace those fingers, just gentle bend over to that right side. Inhale it back up. Exhale it over to that left side. Inhale, reach it back up. And exhale, fold it forward. Inhale, find that flat back. And exhale, plant those hands, stepping those feet back to your plank. If you need to lower onto those knees, you can. As we lower onto our stomachs, pointing the toes, roll the shoulders down and back, lifting up into that cobra. Or if you want, you can press it up into that upward facing dog. And exhale, send those hips up and back, down dog. And then come onto the toes. Bend those knees, step those feet, tap them out. Inhaling the half lift. And exhale, fold. And inhale, rise. Exhale, side bend over to the right. Inhale it back up. Exhale it to the left. Inhale, reach it up. And exhale, fold. Flat back on that inhale. And exhale, plant the hands, stepping those feet back to our plank. Shift it forward, lower down. Inhale, lift. And exhaling those hips to the sky, downward facing dog. And now come onto the toes. Bend those knees, step those feet, top of the mat. Inhale the half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Interlace those fingers, bend it to the right. Inhale back up to the left. Inhale back up and exhale, fold. Flat back on the inhale. And exhale, plant the hands. Step the feet back as we lower down. Inhale, lift. And exhaling those hips up, down dog. Yeah, now inhale, bring the feet together, inhaling that right leg up. We're gonna step that right foot outside that right hand, so into that lizard lunge. The hand is just right inside that foot. So there's room for the shoulders, the chest, inside that leg. Back leg or back knee is lifted, so we're just on the back toes. You hold it here, breathe. Big stretch through those hips. Now we're gonna send that leg back up to this side, that three-legged dog. Curling that knee into the nose, stepping that foot through. Back heel is gonna stay, there it is. Stay lifted, inhaling those arms up into that lunge. Pulling that rib cage down, relaxing through those shoulders. We're gonna find a twist, reaching that left hand forward, right arm reaches back, and then we'll flip that front palm, reach it up as this back hand reaches for that back leg, excuse me. If that's too much, just go ahead and hold it here. And then if you need the wall, you can just have your hand right next to you. And you can even stay here too. So this variation just gives you a little bit more stretch through that left hip flex. A little bit of a twist as well. And inhale those arms back up and lower those hands down to the mat. Go and step it back. We'll just come to a down dog. And then we'll lift that left leg up, step that foot outside that left hand. So again, into that lizard lunge. Back leg is nice and straight, really flexing this quad, and then pressing the hips down towards the mat, kind of forward and down, instead of rotating off to the side. Hold, feeling that big stretch through the hip, the hamstring, and then send that leg up and back, curling that knee to the nose, stepping that foot through, keeping that back heel up, and then inhaling those arms up overhead. So we're gonna find that twist. Right hand's gonna reach forward, left arm reaches back, and then we'll flip that right palm, reach it up and back as this left hand just grabs onto that hamstring. And then we'll circle those hands all the way down to the mat. Go and step it back, vinyasa. And exhaling those hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Go ahead and step both feet to the top of the mat, finding that half lift on the inhale. And exhale, fold. Walking those feet a little bit closer together. Inhale, we're gonna rise up to standing. And exhale, sink those hips down into that chair. Relax those shoulders, pulling those heels apart a little more. And now bring those hands to heart center as we twist over to that right side. So you see, you can hook that tricep right across that knee, or if that's a little much, just hover that elbow over those thighs. We want that back flat, those hips down, chest lifted. And then we'll bring it back to center, and then over to that other side. Bring it to center. Straighten those legs as we fold. Go ahead and plant those hands. Go and just step it back to that downward facing dog. Bring those feet together. Inhale, right leg up. Stepping that foot outside the hand. Keeping that back knee lifted. Sink those hips down. And then send that leg back up into that three-legged dog. Foot's gonna come through to the thumb, keeping that back heel lifted, and then rise up. So again, even if holding this lunge position is a little bit much, you can always lower onto that back knee and then just do the same variation. So modification here for those of you who want it. And otherwise, a little bit more strength building, a little bit more balance this way. And reach, again, same idea, left arm forward, right arm back, and reach that left arm up and back. Good. Reaching those arms up, send those hands down, send it back to our down dog. And then we'll send that left foot outside that left hand. Again, strong through that back leg. One more breath. And then send that leg back up. Curl that knee to the nose, step that foot through. Again, your choice if you lower that back knee down or not. Inhaling those arms up. And then twisting, right hand is gonna reach forward. Left arm reaches back. Flipping that palm, reach it up as this back hand just slides down that hamstring. And now lower those hands down. When step it back, we'll move through that vinyasa. And exhaling those hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Okay, come onto the toes. Bend those knees, step those feet, top of the mat. Walk those toes a little closer together. Inhale, rise up to standing. And exhale, sink those hips down. Bring those hands to heart center. Twist it over to that right side. Then inhale, bring it to center. And twist it over to that left side. Bring it back to center. And straighten those legs as we fold. Okay, now go ahead and rise on up. We're gonna do a little bit of balance here. Okay, just bringing those hands to your hips. Weight is gonna be on that right foot. Okay, we're gonna draw that left. Okay, we're gonna draw that left knee up and then out. Okay, so you can, going into that tree pose, so you can hook that foot kind of right on that calf or the ankle. Maybe you can grab onto that ankle and bring that foot all the way up to that inner thigh. Core stays nice and tight, standing tall. Maybe we bring those hands to heart center. Maybe we can reach those arms up towards the ceiling. And now bring the hands back to heart center. Okay. Now bringing that knee forward. Again, we're gonna take that big step back, opening up through that hip. Okay, so we're coming into a warrior two, stance with the feet basically. So right toes are pointing straight forward, left toes are pointing towards that long edge of the mat. So feet are perpendicular to each other. We're gonna tee off the arms, bend into that front knee, Just holding it here in that warrior two. Good, reaching up through the fingers, so really strong through the arms, the core, and the legs. Then gripping those toes into the mat, lifting through those arches. Good, now straighten that front leg, reach that arm up and back. And re-tee out the arms, keeping that front leg straight. Okay, but not locked out. Slight bend in that knee. Reach forward and lower that hand down towards the shin. Or maybe you can slide all the way down towards the ground, but we want the back to be nice and flat. We want that chest to be open. So working towards getting those shoulders stacked, and then fingertips and arms are in that nice straight line. Good, then inhale, we'll rise back up. Go and step those feet up to the top of the mat. Let's go to the other side. So weight's gonna be on your left foot. Right knee's gonna come up and then out, so foot can be on your calf, or maybe grab it and bring it to that inner thigh. Just try not to have it on the knee. We either wanna go right below or right above. Core is tight, hands, heart center. Maybe we start to reach those arms up towards the ceiling. And now we'll bring that knee back to center. Big step back, opening up those hips. So coming into that warrior two. So it's a pretty long stance, okay? And the toes are pointing the long edge of the mat. Left toes are pointing forward. See out those arms, reach the fingers, and then bend into that front knee. Keeping that core tight, opening up through the chest and the shoulders. Okay, let's hold it for one more breath. And we'll straighten that front leg, flip that palm, reach it up and back. Then now reach out the arms, slight bend in that front knee, reach it forward first, lower that hand down, and then really reach up with that right hand. So reaching from fingertip to fingertip. Inhale, we're gonna rise back up. And then step both feet up to the top of the mat, reaching those arms up, and then exhale, fold. Finding that flat back on that inhale. And exhale, plant those hands down. Go and step it back to your plank, moving through that vinyasa. And then exhaling those hips back to the heels, coming to that child's pose. Just resting that head down. And then come back up onto those hands and knees, and then stepping it back to that downward facing dog. Yeah, we're gonna step that right foot outside that right hand. This time we can lower that back knee down. Let that knee open up a little wider. And then we're gonna twist, reaching that right hand up towards the sky, twisting. So maybe a stretch, not only in that right leg, but that left hip flexor as well. And then we can lower that hand down, maybe lowering down onto those forearms, keeping that chest pulling forward. If that's a little much, you can stack maybe a pillow or a block underneath the arms, or maybe we just keep those arms straight. We stay on those hands. No right or wrong way. And then come on back to those hands. Let's go and straighten that front leg. We'll stretch through that hamstring. Nice flat back. Now keep that hip kind of pulling down and back. And we're going to twist that right arm up. And then lower that hand down. Rebend into that knee, and then go ahead and step it back into that down dog. And step that left foot outside that left hand. Back knee lowers down. And then we're going to twist, reaching that left arm up. And then lower that hand down. Start to bend into those elbows, maybe making your way all the way down onto those forearms. Or again, if that's too much, you can always stay on those hands. And then come back onto those hands. Go ahead and straighten that front leg as we pull those toes back. So nice flat back. Again, drawing or keeping that left hip pulling down and back so hips are level. And then twist, reaching that left arm up. And then lower that hand down. Go ahead and rebend into that knee. And then step it back into a down dog. So just hold it for a couple breaths. Good. Now come on to your backs. And roll it on down. Okay, we're gonna press into those feet. Just start by bridging those hips up, keeping that core tight, holding that rib cage down. And now lower those hips down. We're gonna cross that right ankle over, okay, hugging that knee in, so the left knee in. So we're grabbing that left hamstring or maybe that left shin. Hamstring is a little bit easier. Shin, it's a little bit harder to keep that tailbone grounded down. So just being aware of that. You'll notice if those vertebrae are digging into the mat, that tailbone's probably not pressing down. And then go ahead and switch sides. Just hugging that right knee in. And then go ahead and release that foot down. Now go ahead and come back up to a seat. So a couple of options on this one. We're going to go into that full pigeon. So I'll go through it first, and if it's not happening, I'll give you the modification for it. So we're going to start with that. So it'll be your all's left shin is going to be down on the ground, okay, parallel to the front of your mat. Okay, now right shin comes up over the top. So flex that foot, hook it across that knee, okay, sitting tall. Okay, so then maybe this knee softens down and we can start to walk ourselves forward, just hovering that chest right over the knee. Like I said, if this is not happening, not accessible, you can always just go into that cross-legged position and then fold forward from here. So either one works, as long as we're feeling that stretch through the hips. As long as we're breathing, we're doing just fine. So maybe you can get in this position, the hips a little bit tighter, so you just stay upright. Maybe just giving it a slight lean. And then go ahead and rise back up. Just go ahead, uncross it, and we'll go the other side. So bring that right shin down, okay, crossing that left ankle over, flexing that foot. So we don't want to be, I don't know if you can tell, but in this position, we're really stretching through the ankle line. So we want that foot flex, protecting that ankle. Sitting tall, or again, just that basic crossing, sitting crisscross is fine too. And then just walk it forward, covering that chest as close to those shins as you can get them. And then go ahead and bring it back up. Go ahead and uncross it. Extend those legs out. You can give it a little bit of a shake if that feels good. Now reach those arms forward. We're gonna round that spine. We're gonna roll it back one vertebrae at a time. So try and feel each individual one as we roll, really using that core. And then reaching those arms overhead for that full body stretch. Now keep those arms. Those hips up, core stays tight. Squeeze those glutes, press it into those feet. And lower it down, hugging that right knee into the chest. That left leg extends out long. And then we'll just twist. Use that left hand to guide that knee across. That right arm just reaches out. Right shoulder stays down. Then bring it back to center. Let's go to the other side. Hug that left knee in. Right leg extends out. And then we'll twist. It's the left arm. And that left shoulder, left arm stays down. Then bring it back to center. Go ahead and lower those feet down. Walk the inside edges of the feet together to touch. And then we'll just drop those knees open. So now the bottoms of the feet come together. Those knees just lie open. One hand rests on your stomach. One hand rests on your chest. Just stretching through those inner thighs. Keeping that core engaged and not trying to flatten that back out onto the mat. And start to bring those knees together. You can use your hands to guide those knees up. Feet about hip distance apart, and let's windshield wiper those knees from side to side. A couple times each way. Once we've evened it out, bring those knees to center, and then hug those knees into the chest. Rounding that spine, bring the forehead to the knees. And then we'll extend those legs out, reach those arms overhead, that full body stretch from the fingertips all the way down through those toes. Big stretch. And then exhaling those arms down by the sides. Palms will face up, shoulder blades will walk together. You can bring those arms, those legs as wide as you would like. Taking that big breath in. And exhale, side out. Completely relaxing with that exhale. Begin to deepen your breath. Just gently begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And reaching your arms overhead for that full body stretch from the fingertips down through those toes. And we'll hug those knees into the chest. Gently roll it on over to that right side, just letting that right arm support your head. Left arm just falls in front, completely round. Side. And then go ahead and press yourself up into that seated position. Sitting tall, eyes remain closed. Just pausing for a few breaths here in the seated position. You can just take a moment just to notice how you feel. Maybe comparing it to how we started class. Notice if there's any changes, any difference. Hopefully a little bit more relaxed. Keep those eyes open. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Have a great evening. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., we got that 25-minute power vinyasa with that focus on core. So hope to see you all there. Have a great evening.